What is up, guys? I hope you're all having a great day today, because today we'll be actually talking about some pretty positive news. Now, I know I might be a little bit late on this, mostly because of my own laziness to record a video. Yeah, sorry about that. But if you haven't heard about it already, one of the positive news that came out last month is that Sony recently announced that they're going to be porting a lot of their older PS4 games to PC, starting with Days Gone this spring. Now, most of you would see this and think this is actually pretty awesome because more people are going to get the chance to experience these wonderful games, right? Wrong. Unfortunately, the PlayStation fanboy section of the internet didn't react very well to this news. In fact, as soon as this broke out, they went completely apeshit on Twitter and YouTube and lost their goddamn minds as soon as they saw this, because oh, how dare other people get to play the same games as me without shelling out the money for a $400 console. Now, one of those videos we're going to be laughing at today goes by the title, "The PS5 has no exclusives. Sony gives up on consoles and says their games will come to PC." And not surprisingly, this comes from none other than the king of all console peasants himself, CrapGamer Reviews. And yes, it's the real CrapGamer this time, not that loser. Now, if you don't know who CrapGamer is, he is one of the most infamous console fanboys on the entire internet, like literally. The guy used to be a hardcore Xbox fanboy that churned out multiple clickbait videos a day shilling for Xbox until he realized that almost nobody watches his videos because Xbox wasn't exactly locking away their games as exclusives. So he decided to switch to being a PlayStation fanboy channel instead, while putting out the same repetitive content, with the only difference being he bootlegs for Sony now instead of Microsoft. So of course, he is now very salty that PlayStation is doing the exact same thing he left Xbox for just a few years ago by putting their games on PC too, which resulted in him making this video. So without further ado, let's dive right into this crap fest of a video he put out, shall we?
You guys probably remember a while back I said, you know what, I don't trust any of these executives. I think that they're all in it for the money, they're all in it for themselves, and obviously we have that type of situation sort of rear its ugly head.
Oh my god, $1 billion corporation wants to make money? What kind of madness is this? You mean to tell me they were not in it just for the love of making video games? My mind is blown. But in all seriousness, you have to be a special kind of stupid to think companies like Sony and Microsoft are not only in it to make the largest amount of money possible. I mean, it's not like that's literally the point of forming a company in the first place. It's just to make profit and not to cater to your personal feelings.
And you know, at the same time, I think that it's something that clearly a lot of people are going to be talking about. And, you know, I think that it's something that a lot of people are going to be, you know, kind of split. This is going to be one of those topics that you're going to probably see a split. And you might not even see a split 50-50, but you're going to see some kind of split, whether it's 70-30 or 80-20. There's going to be some kind of split there. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out long term.
That is complete bullshit. There is no split. The only ones bitching about this are the small section of fanboys like you, crying that other people who don't buy the consoles you shill for get the opportunity to play the same games as you. Like literally no one else gives a shit about this.
As for me personally, I feel like this news does take some shine off of it, but I'm going to get into a little bit of that a little bit later. If you guys are wondering what I'm kind of talking about here, Jim Ryan, the head of PlayStation, made a bunch of announcements today, but one of the main things that he announced was that a big group and contingent of PlayStation exclusives would be headed to PC.
Oh, the horror.
Now, a lot of people probably don't feel one way or the other about this. You know, some people are platform agnostic and, you know, they will only buy a PlayStation to play, you know, the exclusives or whatever to begin with.
You mean the normal people who play on PlayStation that don't give a single flying fuck about pointless console wars like you? That's not being agnostic, crap. It's called having a brain, which you clearly lack.
So now those people will probably not buy a PlayStation and they'll probably just wait for them to come to PC or whatever.
And why does that bother you exactly?
Which is another contingent. For like someone like me, I despise PC gaming at its core. And I will never be a PC gamer, so I continue to buy consoles, and I guess...
Oh, I always knew you despised it, crap, even though you never admitted it yourself, because you know in the back of your mind that PCs blow your consoles out of the water in almost every possible way, if you didn't have exclusive games to hide behind. It is, after all, Microsoft porting their games to PCs that got your panties hurt enough to switch over from being an Xbox fanboy to a PlayStation fanboy, because you just couldn't stand that Microsoft was actually being pro-consumer and not following Sony's footsteps of locking away their games to only their console. But let me ask you this, if you despise PC gaming so much and never plan to play on it, why do you care so much that people who do play on PC can now get the chance to play these same games too? I mean, it's not like these games are going to be suddenly removed from PlayStation just because they're now coming to PC. You can still play them on PS4. This doesn't affect you in any way other than, oh no, I can't use these games in dig measuring contests on the internet. Oh, what will I do?
So nothing much really changes for me personally, except for, you know, you get a little bit less of that kind of A class feeling that this stuff comes out. So yeah, there's a little bit of that.
Really? A-class treatment? Dude, you're buying a video game. You're not some celebrity. You're not some important politician or superstar. You're not special. You're just some random ass neckbeard that fanboys for video game boxes on the internet and blindly buys any product thrown at you. You're not entitled to these games. Grow the fuck up.
Going on as well. So, you know, I kind of wanted to get into this as quickly as possible because there is a lot to cover here and I wanted to jump into it. So let's get started. What's up, everybody? CrapGamer here with CrapGamer Reviews.
Wait, what? You mean to tell me this was only the intro of the video? We still have more to go? What the fuck? Yeah, no thanks. I'm not gonna make this a 40-minute video of this guy just rambling and fumbling with his words because that's what he literally does for half of the video. So we'll just skip to the important parts.
This is following on from their publishing of Horizon Zero Dawn on PC in August of last year, and they asked how that went. He says, we assess the exercise in two ways. Firstly, in terms of straightforward success of the activity of publishing the game on PC, people liked it and they bought it. We also looked at it through the lens of what PlayStation community thought about it. There was no massive adverse reaction to it, which I call BS to.
Oh, of course you're going to call it BS, because fanboys like you live under this illusional mindset that everyone in the PlayStation community is a hardcore fanboy like you that bitches and moans about game exclusivity on the internet. While in reality, the majority of console gamers don't give a single shit about game exclusivity at all. Because unlike you, people have way more important things to worry about in life than losing their absolute shit or which games are going to which plastic box. Stop pretending like you speak for the entire PlayStation community.
So we will continue to take mission steps in this directions. So obviously, this is something that, you know, maybe they're a little bit off, you know, with what they're talking about here. I think that clearly this is something that, for me personally, I feel like is a bit of a misstep.
How is this a misstep exactly? Both parties benefit from this. By releasing some of their catalog on PC, Sony gets to jumpstart the sales of some of their older games that have long since dried out, and PC gamers can happily play these games on their preferred platform. It's a win-win situation. Until you can provide us an actual reason why this is a bad move other than, oh, it's because it hurts your little feelings, nobody is going to take what you're saying seriously.
And I understand what the main thinking is right here, okay, right? So from the sounds of it, it sounds like, you know, it's going to be old games. They're not going to be day and date. And that's good, you know, like it's going to be like ports of PlayStation 4 games, you know, you want to get. But at the same point, that means you can't go, well, Days Gone is exclusive or Horizon Zero. Like, you literally have to throw the exclusive argument out of the door.
Oh no, fanboys won't have any games left to use as fuel in internet arguments anymore. I'm sure we're going to lose a lot of sleep with that cancerous shit going away.
Because I think that it's going to be a situation, you know, that really kind of represents the big change here, the big change that's coming. I mean, it starts with Days Gone. I mean, it started with Horizon Zero Dawn, so right away you can't list that game as a PlayStation exclusive, and you know that the sequel will probably go to PC at some point as well.
And when that happens, I'm going to enjoy laughing at the salty fanboy tears that are going to flood the internet.
And, you know, again, I've stated this multiple times, because a lot of people go, well, exclusives are anti-consumer or stupid anyway, there shouldn't be exclusives, and I always point this out, okay? You have 3 consoles. Okay, you have a Nintendo, you have a PlayStation, you have an Xbox. If all 3 of these consoles played the exact same games, how long do you think we would continue to have 3 consoles?
You're acting like they don't already all play the exact same games. Are popular games like Call of Duty, GTA, Fortnite, Battlefield console exclusive games? Yeah, they're not, but clearly millions of people still buy the consoles to play those games regardless. Exclusive games represent a very tiny fraction of the global video game sales. So by your logic, we already won't have 3 console manufacturers anymore. But obviously, that's not really the case, is it? Because the vast majority of people don't go out and buy a $500 console just for 4 or 5 exclusive games. games. They buy them because consoles are a cheap and convenient way to play the latest games. That's the main reason why consoles are so popular in the first place. Not everyone wants to go out of their way to research the components to build a gaming PC, which is why people are still going to continue buying consoles in the future. A handful of exclusive games going to PC won't affect that whatsoever.
Right? Like, we wouldn't have 3 consoles for very long, because if I could play Xbox games and Nintendo games on a PlayStation, that's what I would do. Okay, and probably since PlayStation is the most popular brand, that's what, 80% of people would do.
That has got to be one of the most retarded statements I ever heard. You actually believe 80% of the billions of gamers around the world are going to suddenly drop all other platforms and jump to PlayStation just because a few games are no longer exclusive to a single console anymore? Like, what kind of drugs are you on? 80% of gamers don't give a single crap about console war. They don't give a single crap about console exclusivity or winning internet dick measuring contests about plastic boxes that play video games. All they want to do is buy a console, buy games, sit back and have fun. How hard is that for you to grasp?
Which would mean Microsoft and Nintendo would stop creating consoles, and and they would be we'd be at Sony's mercy. There would only be one, and then without that competition, we would all be stuck in a situation where Sony could charge what they want, do what they want, and that's not good for anybody.
I think they're already doing that, even with other consoles around.
Exclusives really push the industry. They they differentiate the consoles themselves from each other. And I understand that PC's different platform, and I'm fine with that, because listen, I was an Xbox fan for a long time, and even though people like to bring up something that happened in 2016, like me and Phil going at it over Quantum Break going to PC.
I wouldn't exactly call that you and him going at it. More like he completely humiliated you and made you a complete laughingstock in front of the entire internet. You're acting like it was remotely even a fair fight when he completely obliterated your ass.
It wasn't just because it was going to PC. It was because it was going to PC 3 weeks. They announced it 3 weeks away from launch, where for 3 years they called it an exclusive to Xbox.
Okay, it's not like that game not being exclusive anywhere affecting the quality of the game itself in any way. So why does this matter exactly? And didn't you say you would never game on PC? So how does this affect you if you're going to play all your games on Xbox anyway? Like, seriously, are you that insecure about the idea of other people playing the same games as you?
Okay, that's the huge difference. Xbox has always had games that were on PC and console. Halo 1 and Halo 2, Gears 1. You just continue to kind of look at it that way. They've always had a lot. KOTOR. They always had a lot of games that were on both.
If you always knew that was the case, then why were you crying so much about Xbox games going to PC back when you used to shill for Xbox? Better yet, why didn't you mention it in your videos when you were an Xbox fanboy? Why did you mislead your viewers into believing that Microsoft would only keep their games on Xbox? It almost sounds like you purposely avoided mentioning it to trick your fans into clicking on one of your videos, but only start to admit it now because it's no longer profitable for you.
That was not really my issue. Like, I do think that you need something specific to your platform to keep people vested and to keep people interested and to give people a reason to want your platform. But for me, it's almost like, look, Sony just posted their biggest, income revenue ever. Okay, their biggest ever. They basically are making what Nintendo and Xbox divisions are combined, and yet that's not enough. You know what I mean? I understand that the price of games are going up and stuff like that, but they're literally making more money than they ever have before.
Dude, Sony isn't some charity. They're a multi-billion-dollar corporation whose sole purpose is to make as much money as humanly possible. Are you delusional enough to think they'll just be satisfied with the money they're currently making? No, the role of a publicly owned corporation is to find new ways to grow as much as possible. You think they'll just stop finding more ways to make money just to appease people like you that represent a tiny fraction of their player base? I love how you fanboys think companies actually care about you and love listening to your opinions when they wouldn't bat an eye stabbing you in the back if that would make them more money.
And so much like Microsoft trying to double the price of Xbox Live Gold, I feel like this is a bit of a misjudging the room and kind of reading the room wrong.
Wait, you're actually equating the doubling of an already anti-consumer scam like paid online to Sony making more games available on PC for more people to play? Are you high? No, seriously, are you out of your mind? You actually think those two things are even remotely comparable? One is an extremely anti-consumer move from Xbox to force people to pay double the price for a service that shouldn't exist to begin with. The other is Sony opening up more of their games for more players, in which which both the company and the consumer benefit from. Like, those two things are the complete polar opposites of each other.
You know, and I do feel like that's kind of a mistake. You know, at the end of the day, am I going to continue to buy PlayStation games? Yeah.
And there it is. This one sentence, folks, renders this whole video completely pointless. This is the reason no console company gives a single shit of the opinions of fanboys. This guy bitched and moaned at Sony this entire video, and yet he's still gonna go out and buy their products like a mindless sheep anyways. So why would any company even bother listening to what he has to say when he's still gonna give them money either way?
And I guess each of us has to kind of assess that and look at it, you know, sort of as it is as a whole. You know, and for me personally, is it going to stop me from gaming? No. Is it a little depressing? Yeah. You know, for me personally, like as I get older, you know, as I approach that big 4-0, and I've been gaming since like the 1980s, you know, just a lot of this stuff, I'm a hardcore, like old school type gamer.
A 40-year-old man still fighting other people on the internet over plastic video game boxes. Like, how sad is that? Like, this is the type of behavior you would expect from a 5-year-old child. But no, here's an example of a fully grown man still doing this shit. Like, you can't make this shit up.
And I do hope that things change, and I do hope that things kind of continue to get better.
Oh, things are changing, alright, just not in the way you want them to be, because it would take away the whole reason for your channel to exist in the first place.
But at the same time, you know, like I understand it from a business standpoint. Trust me, I completely understand it. But at the same time, I'm like, man, this sucks. You know, just, I mean, that's just my opinion. I just think that it kind of sucks. And
this sucks. No more games for internet fanboys to use as leverage to shame people playing on other platforms. So sad indeed. Cry me a fucking river.
You know, I do hope that we see, you know, some kind of something.
Some kind of something. Wow, just wow. What a Oscar-worthy line right there, Crap. I'm sure Hollywood would be begging to hire you with such masterpiece acting skills. But anyways, I think that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want more content with me just taking the piss out of some of these idiotic YouTube videos. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter. It's basically a second extension of my YouTube channel where I tweet about video games, laugh at fanboys, and all that fun stuff. Also, if you have any video requests, feel free to DM it to me about it on Twitter or type it out in the YouTube comment section down below. I also have an Instagram, although I don't have any post on there yet. I'll be posting some stuff on there eventually, so feel free to follow me on there as well. So I think I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Adios.